We are
Didi.
and Arma, and in our daily lives, we support people on the path of self-liberation. We teach time-tested energy skills like Qigong, Tai Chi, internal alchemy, traditional nutrition, and meditation.
We help people release stagnation, build energy, and become aligned with themselves and their purpose in life.
In this podcast, we share the methods, skills, and solutions that helped us, our students, and now hopefully you move forward.
Let's explore transformation together.
So, what's the topic today, Didi?
So, today we're going to talk about the differences between traditional nutrition and modern nutrition.
Ah, wow. So,
Yeah.
before we go into these differences, because we selected some, right?
Yeah.
And we want to walk you through those, is maybe a little bit of an introduction how the traditional nutrition came into our lives, and especially, well, I think first in your life.
Yeah. And maybe it's good to say that I always had an interest for food.
Yeah,
Even
that's true.
as a little girl, I would always go and help my mom cook. And I was always looking at all these cook programs, and that was really my thing.
I remember when you left the house, they were like, "Oh, she's gone. She's not cooking for us anymore."
Yeah, it was so funny. My father was kind of like, "Oh, where did all the good food go?" Well, not that my mom cannot cook, but she's not really into food, which is actually funny.
No. They wept when you left.
Yeah,
You know.
but then
and I cheered. You know.
Yeah, but she was always also like, "Wow, I spent so much less money on all the grocery shopping because I would always want all the best food and the new stuff and So
But I think when we grow up, we're still of this generation. I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly, but that we sort of grow up with one part is like still a bit of the traditional cooking, the Dutch cooking, and one part is like because of all the technology that came in when we were young, like
Marketing.
Microwaves and the deep freezers and things like this, is that there's also this other influence coming. But let's talk about something else, because so we sort of know this tradition but never really study it.
No.
But then you go to Thailand when you are 16 years old and you start living with this family in the northern Thailand district, and you get in touch with real traditional
They
cooking.
lived really up country, especially in those days. A bit far from any big city. Really, countryside.
Yeah, for people who know, it's like it's 3 hours from Chiang Mai, something like that, and then up to the north between Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai. So, and when you were there in like 1996, 1995?
1995, 1996.
I mean, this was real rural country, right? No tourists, hardly any tourists there.
Yeah, it was just picking up a little bit, but it was really at the start.
But good to know is that nowadays when you go there, there's these modern shops, but they weren't there at those
There
times.
was no supermarket. There was no like, I remember the first like 7-Eleven coming there. That's huge nowadays, but in those days there was nothing like that at all, and especially not in Metam, which is where I lived, not in the center somewhere, but also out, like really province.
So the people where you lived, the family, they would go shop in the market in the early morning.
It was beautiful to see. Well, I hardly saw any of that, but in the morning they would get up really early, like 5 or 5:30, and then go to the market, buy their fresh ingredients, and then started cooking. And I was 16 at the time, so I would just sleep as long as I could, I think, and then get a bath, and then and then just join them for breakfast, which is terrible to say.
You're 16 then, so you're forgiven.
Yeah, but what I did learn, I loved eating warm breakfast. I just enjoyed it so much, and then again for lunch, because they had these great school meals. You know, I mean,
Yeah, on your school.
rice
Yeah,
with
yeah.
egg, or the great soup, the noodle soup. So, and then again, they would be cooking for dinner.
So everything's fresh, everything
Yeah,
is warm.
yeah,
And that's new because that's sort of what we've lost here
yeah,
a little bit in the West. That was
yeah.
different. I didn't grow up with warm breakfast. Maybe once every month that my mom would cook something like an English breakfast, you know,
Yeah,
with
or porridge,
or
something like that.
sometimes porridge. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but not like I've been to Thailand, of course, as well. We visit the family, you know, when we
Yeah.
can. And when I think about it, I just want to go. But I remember the first time then your grandma, your host grandma, was still alive.
Yeah,
And she was cooking there in the open air in this big frying pan in the
Yeah.
morning. And you would be like, whoa, I'm in heaven,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh, and she was just, yeah, she would still cook on open fire.
Yeah.
And the most amazing dishes, which
Oh,
is,
wow. It's just
yeah.
incredible. God
So-
bless her soul.
yeah. And but
So, yeah.
in those days, I wasn't really aware of what they were doing. Of course, I was eating everything,
Yeah.
really enjoying everything. Gained some weight, I must say. Everywhere where but
Yeah, it is
it's-
okay. Yeah.
yeah, because it was so different.
Yeah, yeah.
It was not kind of the food; it was just all the differences, and everywhere where we went,
the
it
whole
was
experience,
food.
and
Yeah,
everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
the food is like the center of life there.
Yeah.
Everything.
absolutely.
Yeah. So fast forward a little
Yeah.
bit. So when does traditional come back into your life again?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah, I think I kind of lost it. Also, just moving back just for one bit.
Mm-hmm.
When I was young, we would have a vegetable garden.
Yeah.
That would be quite normal
Yeah.
to have, and
Yeah.
so being very, and that was the same with in Thailand. Also, they had their vegetables, herbs growing in their own garden. So
Mm-hmm.
there was a close relationship to what you would eat. And even the chickens would walk around the house
Yeah.
and would be eaten. And
Sure. Yeah.
so you knew where your food was coming from.
Yeah.
It was
It's
very...
like a fresh guarantee. It's like,
yeah.
oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which is necessary, yeah, right?
Yeah.
In those tropics and things like that. Yeah.
But then nowadays, what you said, you have freezers, you have
Microwaves.
So this is a whole different. Although
Yeah.
yeah,
It's become an industry.
yeah,
Right.
and there's marketing going on.
Yeah.
So and we have everything available. So from that time when we grew up eating more traditional,
Yeah.
but without really knowing,
No.
it was just how it was. We would shift forward and getting in touch with all those exotic foods,
Yeah.
which I love, by the way, but gets another view on food, and then those, the magazines, so you would try things, or
Sure.
what you would lost touch with what would work for you.
Yeah.
And I think when you started Tai Chi, training your Tai Chi, we got married,
Yeah.
we would still cook quite a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. We always love to cook, but not really conscious about. You know, it's more like, okay, let's do pasta, let's do this stew, let's do
Yeah.
this soup, but not really thinking of giving attention to what's going in there and what's the
Yeah.
influence of it.
Yeah.
We just didn't know. We've not grown up with that, you
Yeah.
know.
And
So
then-
I started my Tai Chi training heavily, and then my teacher, who also studied acupuncture and tuina and things like that. Part of his curriculum was that he went through was food,
Yeah.
the 5-element food,
Yeah.
which is the Chinese version of the traditional food, and you know they use the 5 elements
Yeah.
to, you know, balance and see categories and well. Talk a little bit about that, Didi, if you
Yeah,
want,
yeah.
because
So-
you picked up a book from him.
Yeah, he gave me this, or not gave, but he lent me this book from Barbara Timmerly,
Yeah, 5-element food.
5-element food, which is kind of it's what everybody reads. In if you study traditional Chinese medicine and you want to know something about five-element food, this is the book.
It's like
to
a standard
to.
work.
Yeah, standard.
Yeah.
So I read the book. I read it once. I read it twice, and there was really something thinking like, okay, this is. I know. This is it.
Because it made sense, right?
It
sort of made sense.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
But I didn't fully understand it, so I implemented things.
Yeah.
So what, as I talked about earlier in earlier videos that we recorded for YouTube, I said I already told that I was eating yogurt with crustly and every morning.
Very healthy breakfast.
I would think so.
If you look at the ingredients, maybe.
Yeah.
But not how your body received it, right?
My body didn't receive it at all. It was terrible. So
for the shortest time.
Yeah. It received it and then went down.
Okay.
Too much information. Yeah. So then I got the book. Yeah. And it said warm breakfast. And I said,
warm breakfast, what?
Wow. And I looked back at my time in Thailand and every time when we visit eating the warm breakfast and it just felt amazing.
It lands amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
And then we kind of started to look at our diet and...
we went from there, didn't we?
That was
but then you got in touch with a student of Barbara Temelli.
Yeah.
So you had a very short line to the source of this book that you read a couple of times. Maybe you didn't read it twice. You read it 5 times probably, something like that.
At the end, I think 5-6 times probably, and studied it. So did an exam about it. So,
exactly. So, and then you found Jutta Kuller, and she's teaching around Holland. And
at that time, she still did really on a...
Yeah, on the education for at school where's also acupuncture and Tuina and things like that. But they also had a curriculum for the five-element food, and she did that, right?
Yeah.
So you did that. You did that with her.
I did it, and it was just picked up so much information and really get into that. And understanding five-element food, but also not just the food, but understanding yourself, understanding the system of how your body works, and then how food influences that system. Combining the two, well, there's the magic.
There's the magic right
Actually,
there.
we don't have to go through all those points. That's it.
That's it. We're done.
We're done.
No. Don't worry.
But that was really what I gained from there. That you dive deep into all the different ingredients, but also learning a lot about your system and the 5 elements and how these disbalances, and that you're in a universe. So it's not just you; it's everything around you that influence you.
It's not just the food. It's a way of looking at nature, your own nature, what influences that, and how to adjust according to how you feel at a certain moment. Yeah. And that's probably the main difference. And so suddenly, you have a system that you can work with. You have a system that you can work with, and that makes sense. Yeah. It made sense 1,000 years ago. It made sense 500 years ago. It makes sense now. And it will make sense 1,000 years from now. Absolutely. So and that's maybe the mind-blowing thing of this is that now you understand your grandma's food. Not only the Thai grandma, but also our Dutch grandma. You know, the traditional Dutch cooking is according to that. But we've lost why.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the Chinese, they categorized and they still know why. Yeah. So
we do have some... what's her name again? The German woman who she wrote books about our system, but in the Middle Ages about the same thing. It just wasn't continued because then we
sort of lost it, you know.
Oh, what's her name? Well,
we'll get back to her. Yeah.
So, getting into the differences, well, we already discussed it a little bit, but in the ancient nutrition, you look at the whole system. It's a holistic approach.
Yeah.
It's
It's holistic. So
yeah.
let's dive a little bit into what does that mean?
Should I compare it to the modern
Sure.
for now?
Let's do that. Yeah.
If you look at the modern way of looking at diet, it's mostly on a physical level.
Yeah.
You want, and especially growing up, when would you change your food is to do a diet for a short time in springtime because you want it to look really nice for
In your bikini.
in your bikini during the summer.
Yeah. So for weight loss,
Weight loss.
it's connected to that, right? Yeah.
And it still is. For a big portion, a lot of people would go into a diet to lose weight.
Yeah. Yeah. True. That's yeah.
For 90% maybe. That's why they want to change their food.
Yeah.
Although
Lose
it
calories
does change a little bit.
Yeah.
So in the ancient nutrition, it was not like we're just looking at the physical aspects. We're not looking just at weight loss. We want to look at it has influence not just on the body and on all ways of the body. It's not just the weight. It has an impact on all the organs, all the your skin, everything. Because it's your fuel, but the food actually builds you. How do you say? Your body is renewing all the time, and your food is actually giving yourself the ingredients to rebuild your own body.
Absolutely. And there's of course the levels beyond the physical.
And that's it.
Like the energy body, the
Yeah.
emotional body, the mental body, the concentration and everything, which is part of who we are, isn't it? I mean,
If we eat something that doesn't fit us, like I was eating this breakfast, it gives blockages. It doesn't. It makes you feel not so well. I would have stomach aches every morning, but it made me go into another state.
Yeah.
There was no flow, and so I was also in my life not in flow.
Right. Exactly. It expresses it
Yeah.
in your day-to-day choice making and whatever, because it influences your concentration. It influences how you feel.
Yeah.
So, are you in a downward spiral, an upward spiral? Oh, Hildegard von Bingen.
Hildegard.
That's who we were talking about.
Hildegard.
Yeah, she lived around year 1000, something like that,
yeah.
in Germany. She had a huge influence. Maybe a lot of people might know her from also the music she composed and things, but she had a huge influence in everything.
Yeah.
So this holistic thing is huge because, traditional Chinese medicine, just like Qigong, it looks at all these different levels and, wants to develop these levels and wants to release stagnation in the system, wherever it is.
Absolutely. So the food that you eat has an impact on all these aspects.
Everything.
And so looking at it from another view, it would make you look at your food in a different way.
Yeah, sure.
So that's one. And then the difference, what I said earlier, well, maybe it's a bit shallow to say it's only for weight loss, but that's what you see a lot, what I see a lot around me.
That's certainly what we grew up with. I think there's lots of different things going on now as well.
Absolutely.
And hopefully that's, there's more of this traditional exposure, so it can help, but there's still this physical
aspect. And now people do change their diet for health reasons.
Yeah.
But what you see in traditional nutrition is also that they do it it's not for a short time, it's for the rest of your life. Yeah. So you don't change your food for when we grew up, what kind of diets did you all have? The strange diet about just eating bread or just eating only carbs or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It would be for a certain amount of time and then you will go back to your regular diet. whatever that was.
Yeah.
And in the ancient nutrition, you see that you kind of go with the seasons, but you adjust all the time, and it's not a short-term thing. No, it's implementing it into your life,
Yeah.
into your routine, and bending on where you are and
Adjusting, listening,
and with
feeling,
with the
seasons,
where you are in your life. So there's a big difference between those two. It's not just a phase. It's something that moves with you through time, and it's a part of you.
And maybe I can add to that is like what's the view on health?
Yeah.
In what you see in the West, and what's the view on health when you look at traditional Chinese, and I think in Asia you see that as well.
Yeah.
Is that in the West we tend to look at are we fit or not?
Yeah.
And how's my weight? But how about your emotional health, and how about your mental health, and all these things, and how are they connected with what you eat every day?
Yeah.
Etc. And how that influences each other. How you feel is what you eat, or what you eat is how you feel. Yeah. I think we sort of we always come back to this physical thing here. So you can be fit, but you can be messed up as well, emotionally. So
there can be a lot of disbalances underneath, and that's here. It sometimes seems that we're healthy until the doctor says we're not, and then it's coincidence that we're not healthy anymore.
Right. It happened to me now. Yesterday it happened to my neighbor, but now it's my turn.
It happens to me.
Yeah.
And then we're hoping that, well, this is maybe a bit exaggerated, but then we hope that the doctor will cure you. Yeah. And we're healthy again because we can go back to
whatever it was we were doing. We're not adjusting that per se.
And then so sometimes we're eating in a way that we're preserving our disbalances instead of getting more into balance.
Well, that brings us to the second point. That's all about prevention, right? Yeah. If we look at the traditional way, it's about this prevention. It's like because you're adjusting day by day, week by week, month by month, is that you can fine-tune. Yeah. And so you prevent sickness instead of, okay, this is my diet and I eat that and then whatever happens, but I'm not going to adjust that.
No, exactly.
So there's this disconnect, like what is my state at this moment and what am I eating? There's mostly a disconnect from that. Yeah. Like with the breakfast, right?
Yeah.
So there's prevention. Yeah, that's it. And we, I think if you look at ancient times, it's like okay, you're a farmer, you're a fisherman, whatever, That was not the time that you would call up your boss like, I'm sick, I'm not coming today. Okay, yeah, see you Monday. No, there's 10 children. Yeah. You have to get the stuff to the market. Yeah. You have to go milk the cow. You have to be able to do your thing. And people knew, probably, I'm not sure how aware they were, but they knew certain things were helping them, moving them through the winter, moving them through whatever season they were hitting. And
And I think if they were aware or not, but they were just... Nature is so beautiful because if you would just look around you what's available at the time, then most of the time you're doing the right thing because what's growing now is what we want to eat at this moment and is really good for us at this moment, especially when you look for the ingredients that are right around you.
Yeah.
And then you have these beautiful herbs as well to get you even more in balance.
In balance, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, next point, right?
Yeah. So, if you look at the ancient nutrition, we look at ingredients as a whole. So you look at a tomato and what kind of influence has a tomato on you. And what does an onion do, and what does milk do, or so we're looking at the
effect
of the entire product or the plant.
food,
And
the plant, or
every plant has all the elements in it, but it has more of some element, and especially with the taste and everything. But you need to take the whole thing. It's with herbs as well. You want to take the whole thing to get a certain effect, because it's balanced in its own way.
And let's take a look at some of the effects, maybe, right? I mean, because that's what the Chinese have been doing for centuries. Is just saying, okay, tomato does this, it warms the system, or it cools the system, or this cools the system. You know, what's the effect of this product on the system? Yeah, and they just know.
Yeah, well, it's by looking, but we know as well. I mean, some ingredients is easy to say. Like cucumber, most people know if you have a sunburn and you put cucumber on it, that it's cooling.
Yep.
Or if you eat a red pepper, that it's burning your mouth.
Yeah.
So we know those things, but there's always...
Those are pretty extreme, of course. But
we don't necessarily know it of all the ingredients. Like with the banana.
Yeah.
And it's really cooling. Tomatoes, really cooling. And if you think about it, it actually makes sense, because it grows banana grows in the tropics. A tomato is very of the summer. It has a lot of sun absorbed.
We sort of know it, but we're also disconnected from it, right? And I think that's it, because... You know, now it's so normal that, you know, you want ginger tea. Ginger tea is everywhere. Ginger tea. And I like ginger tea. I like it in my mouth. And but we sort of are disconnected from feeling, so that we don't feel the effect anymore, and have a disbalances from here to Tokyo, right?
That's right. That's it. No, and I think these, especially with drinks, it has such a big impact. We love those herbal teas, but be so careful with taking I was also part of that.
Oh, sure.
I would eat the yogurt for breakfast and then drink the yogi tea all day long.
Extremes,
And you would get all the different disbalances from the two. So I would get heat and then a cold, and that's not a great mix to have.
No, of course not.
But very fashionable, I must say. Everybody was doing
it's like, I'll have this coffee, or have this.
So you have the thermic
the value of
food, which cold, and then you have all the taste or the elements in all the foods. And
these are there to adjust your system. What's your system? What's the state of your system right now? Are you in balance? Are you not in balance? And how can we adjust the diet to balance things out in this moment? And that's way different than we look at the West. That's totally one size fits all. Yeah. It's like, this is healthy for you, this is not healthy for you, but not considering how you digest it or not.
And if you look at all the elements, then what you see is that if you look at French cuisine, that they cook with all these, all the tastes. If you have a good dish, then all the elements. But also, if you look at the recipes from my grandmother or my great-grandmother, they also have all these tastes in it.
All the 5 elements are
all the 5
represented
elements are there. If you look at the stews, if you look at... Because there would be the sour, the sweet, the bitter. It was all there. The salt.
It's not one-sided.
No. The sharp taste. We have the herbs. So it was there. It's just that we moved away from it, and
we lost touch on why it was important.
Yeah.
I think, it's like we have the recipes. And these are worldwide, I guess, if you look at all the tradition. And but it's funny to see in hindsight now that you know, again, you understand the system, is that it's like a puzzle. It's like,
Now
I understand.
why it was.
Yeah.
Why these recipes have been going from mother to daughter and mother to daughter.
Yeah,
And
to keep them healthy throughout the year, throughout the seasons. Because
why,
it was their medicine. I mean,
Yeah.
there was not medicine in those days that we have now.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems as well, because the medicine, a lot of the medicine now is about, stopping the symptoms, right?
Yeah.
But it's not looking underneath. It's what started these symptoms, right? So these people had to have something to work with, and they just learned from experience just by living. This is ancient, right? This is ancient.
Sure. And then if you look on the other side in the modern nutrition, we look more at what nutrients are in the food. So you have a tomato, and then we look at how many calories, how many vitamins, how many, how much calcium is in there, and all these list of things, which provides a disconnect of the food.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what it looks like. How does a vitamin? What does it look like?
Well, something like in school on a drawing board, or maybe like the atoms and stuff like that,
And
it becomes science, right?
I don't want to say that it's wrong, but it's just another way of looking at it, which creates a disconnect from the food if you're not careful.
Yeah, so, and that's the thing as well. It becomes dualistic because we are so dualistic. And science is very dualistic. It's like it's either right or wrong, especially in these things. It's like, okay, that's healthy for you, that's not healthy for you. But how do you know, right? Yeah. Is there any form of experience there?
Yeah. And then there's the one size fits all that you already mentioned. Like, okay, in your food you should have so many vitamin A, B, C, D. I don't know what all there is, but okay, you have it on your plate.
Yeah.
You have it all figured out.
Yeah, it's nicely laying there in parts, like I got this. And then you bring it into your system.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Well, if you're lucky, you digest it. But if you haven't cooked it, a lot of people are afraid if I cook my food, then all this goodness from the food will disappear by cooking. But if you don't digest it, it will just go through your body and you will not absorb any of those goodness in your system. So
it's not what goes into your stomach, it's what's digested out of what's coming into your stomach, which gives you the energy. Yeah. So, well, and this is major. This is the whole difference. Yeah. Because if science was right, they could say we give you a sort of astronaut food, which contains everything, all the nutrients, and you would live on that, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you could, but how would you feel?
Yeah. And I think that the whole eating experience would not be very good. And as we said in the first point, is that it's a holistic approach. So everything should be fed, not just your body, but your energetic body, your emotional, your spirit, and it's an experience. If you like my Thai family or me as well, when I grew up with my mother in the kitchen, there would be a lot of love and attention in the food, sitting at the table, and we do it every meal. Whenever we can, we sit at the table and we smell the food. We really have this experience.
Well, we made it fresh. We made it fresh. Most of what we eat, we make fresh, and it costs a little bit more time. But, it's priceless. The energy you get out of it is just... So that brings us, I guess, to the experience.
Yeah.
So you can tell anything you want about how healthy something is, but how does it feel in your system?
Yeah.
Most people are lost. They have lost the ability to feel.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big problems. Yeah. So what you see now is like you get this trend, you get this trend, you get this trend, this trend.
Yeah.
5-element food has been there for thousands of years.
Yeah.
That's not going to go away.
No.
Not in our lifetime.
No, and I think our system doesn't change.
No.
Not that much, anyway.
Yeah.
So it still is so right for
Yeah.
us at this time.
Well, we practice qigong, right? So we are able to feel.
Yeah.
That's feeling is my business, right?
Yeah.
That's what I do, and that's what I teach. It's all about the experience. So if you adjust, if you start feeling again, not like how does it taste in my mouth, but how is it half an hour after you've eaten? Did you get a dip? Or are you still vibrant? That's the way to calculate
Yeah.
if the food was right for you.
Yeah.
And with this system, you can adjust and see, it doesn't make sense to eat a mango in the winter in Holland. This doesn't make sense at
Or
all.
a banana every
Don't do
morning.
it. Make a warm apple. Take an apple, make it warm, whatever. Pear. That's the things that's traditional, because you pre-digest it and you will feel better, But I know because I know how to feel.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and that's also that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Do you it starts with being aware that you
Sure.
want to work on your food, that you're ready for it to change, and of course you first want a basic knowledge, a foundation of what's good for you and what's not good for you. But then it changes into feeling, and then maybe from my books I would say, that this or that is not good for you, or this is really good for you. You should eat this or that. But if it doesn't feel good, if your body resists it, don't eat it.
Right.
Why would you?
That's a signal.
I mean, that's a signal.
That's a signal, definitely.
Your body is the most greatest thing precious thing there is, because this it will make it able to feel, to get all those signals.
It's like, adjust here, adjust there. Don't do that anymore.
No.
Don't, or leave it for now. Maybe try later. You get signals.
Yeah.
If you're willing to listen to yourself, you will get the signals.
So, and what I also did before I knew about this system is just act upon things that I heard from people, a dietist, no, how do you call that? A nutritionist.
Mm-hmm.
And would just do what she said. And then I would not listen to my body at all. I would listen to her and read the magazines and do that.
Well, there was a time in my life where I didn't listen to myself as well. You know, I mean, you live and you learn, but luckily we've learned, and this has come into our lives, and now you're teaching it, right? And
so a journal is one of the best ways of understanding yourself.
Absolutely.
In every way. And going through the cycles, understanding about what's happening around you with seasons, and if you write down what you eat every day, at what time, and see how it feels in your body, how you felt, how you slept that night, what kind of exercise you did, all these stuff, you get patterns. And you start to understand yourself better. If you make changes, you see, okay, that made a change, and I feel this or that, and
you adjust.
And so
you start trusting your own feeling and your own instincts, and that's it, people. That's it. You know, if you put that away and just start trusting something that someone has written and say, well, I have to do that. Start trusting yourself. Start feeling again. Yeah. Experience and make notations, as you said.
Yeah. And then and of course, what I did as well, I did look into those time-tested systems.
Absolutely.
To guide me on this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trust them. They're there for a reason. Yeah. They're still there for a reason, I would say.
They survived.
They survived.
So
Like we did this session.
yeah,
We survived.
we survived. So feeling, thinking,
Yeah.
and hopefully
Yeah.
you start to go into the direction of starting to trust what you feel yourself.
And make that the guiding
Yeah,
light,
Yeah.
for your own path.
absolutely.
That's a great place to end. I think.
It's
So,
beautiful.
I hope you got something out of this, and
If you have any questions, well,
put it in the comments. Whatever.
Reach out to us.
Reach out, and we
we're
can
happy
go deeper.
to answer.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Hope that to see or hear you in the next podcast.
Okay. Absolutely.
Okay.
We're ready for it. Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.